Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. If you like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up or commenting below. If you want to see more of my videos, press the subscribe button and click on the bell for notifications. If you need any Stampin' Up! Products to make this card, you can visit my online store and the link is in the description box below. Today, I would like to share with you my second paper pumpkin alternative project using the September 2020 paper pumpkin kit called Hello Pumpkin. This fun kit creates 20 cracker box style treat boxes. This kit came with a lot of fun things, including die cuts, the pattern paper for the cracker boxes, as well as black and white twine. And if you'd like to watch me unbox this, you can click on the link up here. It will take you to the playlist where you will also see my other alternative projects. And today what I wanted to do was use some of the extra paper that came from the cracker boxes to create this fun card. Don't miss out on the fun. Make sure to subscribe by October 10th to receive next month's kit. It will make 8 beautiful holiday cards. Subscribe by clicking on the link below in the description box. So when you look at the sheet for the cracker boxes, you're going to punch out these diamond shapes so that you can put the cracker box together. And so what I wanted to do was use this usually trash piece of cardstock to create a fun pattern for a card. So go ahead and grab one of these boxes and you're going to punch them out. And you're going to get 10 from one because there's 5 on each side. And so you're going to need a second one so that you can have about 20. And that's how many I used on this card. And you can see that I used both sides of that paper for my design. So let's go ahead and start with the design part of our card, and then we will do our stamping after. So what I wanted to do was create kind of a quilt or a soft feeling for this card. And so I wanted to bring in a softer color to kind of mute these strong colors of the pumpkin pie and the Cajun craze. And so I'm using crumb cake. And I wanted to cut it a little small so that I had a nice tight rectangle for these diamonds to fit in, and I didn't feel like I had to fill the entire card with diamonds. And so this is cut to 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. And I have, like I said, I've got 20 or so of these diamonds, and I did have a couple that I've already punched out from other projects. And then you want a coordinating piece of cardstock for the background. And so I'm going to use pumpkin pie for this card. On this one I have Cajun craze, and I want to just kind of make 2 different versions since we get those 2 different color patterns on the diamonds. So the first step is to find the center or middle point of your crumb cake cardstock. And so when you think about 3.5 inches, you're going to end up with about 1 3/4 inches as being that center point going the width of your cardstock. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of line up the point of my diamond here at about 1 3/4 inches. And then we're going to go down the length of the cardstock. So we're sitting at 4 3/4 inches. So if we just simplify it and we cut it in at 4, that would be 2 inches. And then 1/4 would give us 4.5. And so then we need just an extra little 1/8 here. So I'm just going to slide this over a little bit and bring that down so that it's at 2 3/8 inches. And so that is about my midpoint. Now it doesn't need to be totally exact, and actually I should have probably put a little bit of glue on here before starting. So I'm just going to quickly dab some glue in where I think center is, and place this, and then we'll just quickly measure again. So that's 1 and what did we say? 1 3/4. It's about there. So it didn't move too far from us. And then 2 3/8. So we pretty much stayed about exactly at midpoint. So there we go. So that's going to be our guide. Now from here on, it's just eyeballing. And so you can go ahead and just start adding these pieces however you want. Now for this card, I did most of these pieces with the Cajun craze on the top. And so that's, so then I picked Cajun craze for the back here. And for this one, I want to kind of do the opposite and do the majority of these with the pumpkin pie, and then put the pumpkin pie as my background piece. So I'm just going to use liquid glue because that gives me that opportunity to kind of move things around after they're on my card. And I'm just going to start adding these to my card front. My card front. And so, there is no right or wrong pattern here. And they can go different. They don't need to be even, and kind of a little bit of random is nice so that you don't have to, sorry, my brain, talking and being creative at the same time is hard for my brain. So they don't need to be perfectly symmetrical, I think is what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going to kind of give you a close-up. You can notice that I'm giving maybe about 1/8 of an inch between my shapes so that they have a little bit of room to breathe, and just kind of trying to keep things centered and even as I'm working. So maybe I'm going to do one up here. So now that I kind of have a good base, I'm just going to keep adding diamonds to my card front. And I'll probably speed the video up so that you can kind of see this go a little bit faster. And I probably need to add a couple of those other patterns in here now too. So let's stick one up here. Okay, so I wanted to kind of keep to just those 20 diamonds. And so you'll notice that I did some counting to make sure I was about 20. And so now we're going to take a pair of paper snips and we're going to just trim off any that are hanging off the edge. So you can see that my pattern has changed. I kind of went from one corner to another, from the top right corner to the bottom left corner on this card, and then kind of switched that here. And that was not intentional, it just kind of happened. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip this over and take my snips and just cut off those that are hanging over. And then I wanted this to kind of have a more cohesive feeling. So it kind of felt like it was more together rather than just individual pieces glued onto a piece of cardstock. And so to get that feeling, I ran the whole thing through an embossing folder. And you can probably see that we've got some embossing here. Right where it kind of connects with those other papers, it kind of becomes a little bit softer, but the papers also have that embossing. This pattern paper has that embossing on it as well. And that just kind of brings that piece all together and makes it more like one piece rather than just all glued on to a piece of cardstock. So you could use any embossing folder. I'm using this Tasteful Textile 3D folder. And I'm just going to add it to my folder, and then I'm going to run this through my cut and emboss machine, and then I'll be right back. So you might notice that you can now see the embossing on there, and it kind of just feels like it's one cohesive piece instead of individual pieces. So the rest of our card comes together pretty quickly. So again, we have that pumpkin pie piece of cardstock, and it's exactly the same size. You can also find all the dimensions to the cardstock in the description box below. I'm just going to add this with a little bit of liquid glue. I like to use liquid glue on embossed cardstock. I think that it holds a little better than regular adhesive. And when you're using liquid glue, it's really important that you smooth it out so that it doesn't make your papers bubble or warp. All right, sorry, it looks like it's having a hard time focusing. There we go. If I've had issues focusing during this video, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so there's that piece. And then you just have your cardstock for your card base. And this is just thick Whisper White cardstock. And it's been scored at 4 1/4. And I have a little bit of a smudge there, so I'm just going to make sure I cover that up with my cardstock. That's just going to go straight on. You again could use regular adhesive here or liquid. And go ahead and just place that on your card front. And it can be at an angle or straight, however you like to add cardstock to your card front. And again, smooth that out. I must have had issues cutting this paper. And then the last thing we're going to do is just add our greeting. And I've just kept things really simple because I really wanted this to be the focal point. And I did use one of the banner greeting cutouts from the kit. And I will be using the Cajun Craze ink spot. And then I liked this give thanks. I think it went really well with the colors and the patterns for this card. So this is the stamp set that came in the kit. So we do have some other options that would work as well, such as Hello Pumpkin. You could even add some other images if you wanted from the stamp set or the die cuts that came in the kit. Like I said, we're just going to keep things really simple for this card. Go ahead and just ink up your greeting and then stamp it in the center. Oh, I think that came out crooked. My finger slipped. So if things are crooked, don't fret. You do have another side to your paper. So you can always just flip it over and give it another try. Plus, this kit came with so many pieces of cardstock that you could even just use a new one if you wanted. This is popped up with some dimensionals, and I am going to use the ones from the kit. They're a little bit on the big side for me for this greeting, so I'm just going to snip them in half and then use half on one side and half on the other. And that should be enough to hold it. If you like using the full dimensional, that is fine too. And then you can place this anywhere really. It could go up at the top. Actually, I think that's what I'm going to do for this one. I'm just going to try to make sure that it lines up with the card and not with the card stock. And so to do that, I'm just going to kind of grab my ruler again, just kind of get an idea if I'm about even. So it's kind of, it looks like 1/16 of an inch shorter than 1.5 inches. And then on this side, it's just a little bit low, but pretty dang close. So I think I'm just going to leave it. All right, so that card is all done. Now, of course, you can always bling it up with some rhinestones, or you could even, like I said before, add some of the die cuts from the paper pumpkin kit. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, like, and share. Visit creativechelsey.com for more information about Paper Pumpkin and to start getting your monthly kit. Have a creative day. Bye.